here at the Foundry in San Francisco. I'm your host, Rachel Seltzer-Querico. And you guys seem pretty excited to be here. I am so glad because we have so much awesome stuff to show you guys. We have our game design manager, Mr. Eric Dodds, with a very special announcement for you guys. And following that, we have a show match featuring Amaz, Trump, and our current Hearthstone world champion, Firebat. So let's get things started. I'm going to hand it down to Eric Dodds. Keep your eyes peeled, guys.
Wow. This is awesome. I am super excited about fireside gatherings in general. I'm sort of just blown away by all the people here, especially with all of the people who are joining us from other fireside gatherings all over the world and innkeepers who are making that possible. So this is an unbelievable gathering of people who are as excited, maybe even more excited, no, about as excited as I am about Hearthstone. So, yeah. This is awesome. So, not all that long ago, we sent out a scroll to a few different places, and there was some guesses about what we might be talking about today. I imagine a few of you have some guesses about what we might be talking about. And I wanted to start right away by saying what we're doing is something along the lines of Goblins versus Gnomes, in that it's going to be a brand new Hearthstone expansion. That is what I'm going to be talking about today. So Goblins and Gnomes is all about, the crazy goblins, the crazy gnomes, their crazy inventions, and, doing battle with each other in crazy ways. And we really liked that theme. And when we sent out, the scrolls and some other hints we put out there, a lot of you had guesses as to, hey, what might the theme of the next thing you guys are doing? And there were a lot of great ideas. One of the ideas that we definitely saw out there and was kind of cool was the idea that maybe are we doing pirates versus ninjas? Pirates versus ninjas would actually be super awesome. It's an idea that is near and dear to my heart. There's only a little problem for me personally with us ever doing this expansion, or there would be some difficulty because I have a personal take on which way that conflict would go. So, I know, but trust me, if we ever do decide to do something like this, there are many, many people on the Hearthstone team who are very strongly in the ninja camp, so it would be an epic battle for us to even get going on something like this. So, it was an awesome idea, but it is not pirates versus ninjas. There was the... Someday, perhaps. There was the other idea that maybe it is Tauren versus Worgen. They are epic and awesome characters from the Warcraft universe, and those would be super fun for us to do. And while we really like those characters, it didn't feel like it was the time, so that's not really what we're leaning into right now. There was another idea out there. Well, actually, it wasn't really an idea out there, but I was kind of wishing it would have been an idea out there because it's one that I think would be super awesome, is the idea that maybe we could do something like, the Lich King versus Battle Pets. And of course, we are not doing that. And of course, I only put that up there to have a little fun with it. But on the other hand, as I've been looking at it and thinking about it, it's starting to grow on me, actually. So we'll see, but it is not the Lich King versus Battle Pets, even though that would be super awesome. So what it is actually all about is about epic characters doing battle on epic steeds in a conflict of honor and glory with, mighty Warcraft characters doing battle. And really, I don't really want to tell you about it. I just want to show you something. So let me show you what our next expansion is right now.
From east to west, heroes are sent, seeking glory in the greatest of events. There are knights on noble steeds, those who will bring them to their knees. There are monsters to test their mettle at every turn. Legends will rise based on their merit. and pirates riding parrots. It's the Grand Tournament.
So it is, in fact, the Grand Tournament, and it is going to be, or is, an awesome, awesome expansion filled with honor and knights and glory and a knights tournament and all that sort of thing. But really, before I get into the details of exactly what the Grand Tournament is, I actually have to talk a little bit about where the idea from the Grand Tournament came from. And this is something some of you may have guesses about, sort of the background of the Grand Tournament. But for those who don't, a number of years ago, there was a character in a place called Northrend who was causing a lot of trouble, called the Lich King, and a lot of people wanted to get rid of this guy because he was basically making a major nuisance of himself. So the people of the world sent together a group of heroes to do battle with the Lich King, and they were all killed and reanimated and forced to join his army. So they decided that perhaps that was not the best plan to do again. So what they decided to do instead was to have this tournament, an Argent tournament, where they took the knights and the best warriors and characters for people from across the land and did battle with each other until they found out who was the very best and mightiest heroes in the world, and they were going to send that elite strike team to do battle with the Lich King and see if that group could take him down so they wouldn't get reanimated afterwards. And they sent that group in, and they defeated the Lich King, and this is where our story takes a little bit of a turn from the story you may know from Warcraft. So what happened after that was there were the people who put together the Argent Tournament, and these people were sitting around at the Argent Tournament grounds and said, the Argent Tournament was pretty cool. That was pretty fun. And, you know, we've got this, you know, tournament grounds, and we've got all these extra lances and tents, and the knights seem to have a good time, so maybe we should keep doing that and have the emphasis be more on fun and honor and glory rather than this need to defeat the Lich King. So that's what they did. They had this tournament, and they decided we're going to keep these tournament grounds, and we're going to use this tournament grounds again and have a grand tournament. We're going to have all of these characters from across the world come and keep doing battle. So once again, something happened that they were not necessarily expecting. Since they sent these invitations across the world to the mightiest knights, to all of the races of the world to come do battle in the grand tournament. And you know, the humans came on their mighty steeds, and the Tauren came on their Kodos, and then some other people got invitations that they weren't initially expecting. The Murlocs got invitations, and the Clockwork Knights got invitations, and the Pirates got invitations. So when they looked at the people who arrived to do battle in the grand tournament, it actually looked a little bit like this. So there are still mighty knights. They are just mighty, unconventional knights who showed up in the grand tournament. And I have to imagine that all of you can't be terribly surprised that we took what was a very serious part of Warcraft lore and made it slightly less serious and slightly sillier, slightly more fun. So that is sort of the background here, where there are still some of these characters who you know from the Argent Tournament doing battle in this, but there's also a lot of these new characters who have never been seen before participating in the Grand Tournament. So we have this, and we have these awesome characters, and of course these awesome characters are going to need a new board to do battle on. So we had to, of course, make an awesome new board. And I always say this when I'm looking at the new boards our artists have put together, but this board is pretty amazing in that, of course, there's the normal stuff, like you can eat from the food area and have them refill and bring you different food. Of course, the people in the stands will cheer for you when you're doing well, and they will be sad when you're doing poorly, so they're actually going to start to participate in your battles with you. That's kind of fun. the archery butt. There's a lot of secrets there. I've spent a lot of time shooting arrows, and there's interesting and fun stuff that happens there. So again, the artists really went nuts and just outdid themselves with what they provided in this map. So we have an awesome map. We have an awesome theme. I suppose you guys are probably interested to see some of the characters that are doing battle in this area, in this arena. So let's take a look at, for instance, Sky Captain Crag. He is as you might have imagined, a pirate riding a parrot. We're excited about his abilities. We're excited about a pirate, of course, having the ability charge. Because that's as it should be, as you've already discovered my inclination towards pirates. But it's also a great example of the types of characters that you're going to see participating in the Argent Tournament. Or the Grand Tournament, coming from the Argent Tournament. So we have Sky Captain Crag, but we don't just have minions participating in the Grand Tournament. Of course, we have new spells. So I thought maybe I'd show you a new hunter spell that we have going. This spell is Lock and Load, and it will actually... It's a super fun spell because it makes you play Hunter a little bit differently. You're sort of waiting for the big turn where you can just draw tons of cards. So it's an interesting twist in how you're playing Hunter. And I actually thought I'd show you a movie of how this plays out in the game field, because it's pretty cool how it looks once you're actually watching it played. So this is a movie of you playing Lock and Load. And one of the things that's exciting to me about this is that once you play it, a scope zooms in on the play field so both you and your opponent know that something awesome and very different is about to happen. And then you start playing your spells, you start drawing more Hunter cards. You don't know exactly what you're going to get. So, this is awesome. So, we've talked a lot about some new characters, like a new spell and a new character that's part of the Grand Tournament. But really, one of the things that's going to be super interesting about this is the new mechanics that are involved. What's going to be the thing that's going to sort of tie this all together from a mechanical point of view? And we talked about a lot of different ideas of what we could be doing. And when we talked about it, we really liked the idea of settling on heroes are a big deal in the Grand Tournament. Less focus on heroes. So maybe what we want to do, and this is in fact what we did, is focus on the heroes and the hero power. So you're going to see a ton of new cards that are going to affect players' hero powers. So I'm going to show you one of them right now. Let's see the Maiden of the Lake. So the Maiden of the Lake is awesome in that she's hard to get rid of. She's a character you'll have recognized from the Argent Tournament. So again, we have Argent Tournament characters and these new characters from the Grand Tournament theme of things. And it makes your hero power cost 1, which means, you know, it's pretty good. You can sneak some new effects in here and there, but it gets a lot more exciting when you start to include other cards in the mix. So I'm actually going to be now talking about a new mage card that is a new mage dragon. So let's look at a mage dragon and think of how this would affect the Maiden of the Lake. So you can really see so there's a ton of awesome combos that it'll have here, and this is sort of just scratching the surface. But I also want to show you, get to some more cards. We really like the theme in Hearthstone of giants and these giant 8/8 characters that cost more mana than they should, but you can reduce the mana cost. We like the idea of frost giants because, it's perfect for Northrend and around the Argent tournament. So this is our frost giant. So the Frost Giant is awesome. You use your hero power a bunch, you play it for much cheaper, and you're really very much good to go with the Frost Giant. So we have a lot of cards that are based around the hero power and affecting the hero power. But when we talked about this expansion, we talked about, is this enough? Because we wanted to maybe have, we talked about maybe, should we do a new keyword in this expansion? We've never really done that before. And we have some keywords that appear on the characters sort of as traits, or on the minions as traits. So, we have Death Rattle on some of our minions. We have activated abilities on some of our minions. You'll see them in the bottom of the minions. We thought maybe it was the right time to add a new keyword, and so we of course did, but it's around the idea that the hero power matters. So we are adding the new keyword Inspire to the game. And what it means is when you see Inspire on a card, or when you see that flag on a minion, it's going to have a power that is going to activate every single time you use your hero power. So it's going to be really interesting how that plays out. So I can show you sort of just our simplest one-drop example, the Lowly Squire, and he costs 1, he's, a 1/2, and his attack gets higher every time you use your hero power. So you can trigger it if you want to, and he's going to become more powerful. And this is just sort of an example of the types of things that we are doing in the Grand Tournament with Inspire. One of the things we're actually really excited about, though, with the Inspire keyword is since we put this Inspire keyword on so many neutral minions, that there's actually a ton of different combinatorics that you are all going to get to play with, because if I play the Lowly Squire or one of the other Inspire minions and play it with a mage, it's going to play very differently as far as feel and pacing than if I play it with a warlock or than if I play it with a priest. So you're going to have a bunch of these Inspire minions that we've certainly done some exploring of the space, but I'm actually expecting you guys to do a lot of the exploring of the space of what is the crazy combination of this minion with this hero power with this other card that does something that we have never seen before, and we're expecting a lot of that. I probably should show you one of our big characters that has Inspire, so I'm going to show you Sarad. He is, of course, an ethereal riding an energy camel. So there's some really exciting things you can do with that. And in fact, one of the reasons we like this guy is he's going to put cards in your hand that you weren't necessarily expecting. You're going to play in a different way when you have him. And of course, he's an ethereal riding an energy camel, so he's another perfect example of the people who showed up at the Grand Tournament that the inviters were not entirely expecting when they first, send out those invites. So another awesome character for the Grand Tournament. So those are a bunch of the characters for the Grand Tournament, but as a whole, it's important for you to guys know how many cards are coming. So there's over 130 new cards. So you're going to see a lot more cards than you've already seen, and they're going to be coming in packs just like Goblins versus Gnomes, just like the classic packs. It's going to cost the same price. It's going to, you can buy it with gold or real money. It's exactly like you know it before. It just has 130 or over 130 of these awesome new the Grand Tournament cards in them that sort of change the way you play the game. So we have all of these new cards, and we, of course, wanted to make sure that there's a way of people getting excited about it early if they would like to. So we're actually starting a pre-purchase for these cards next week. What this will mean is you'll be able to buy 50 packs at a discounted rate, and you also get the card back, which that's the card back that comes with it, that I'm pretty actually pretty excited about it. It may be my new favorite. It's an awesome card back. But you can pre-purchase it next week, and then when the grand tournament actually opens, you're going to be able to open those packs and have a big head start in jumping into the game. And of course, it opens next month. So starting next month, you will be playing the grand tournament. So those are the cards I have to show you, but there's still a lot of exciting stuff to come because we actually have some players that a lot of you undoubtedly know who will be playing matches with not only the cards you've seen here, but a bunch of additional cards from the grand tournament that you haven't seen yet. So I'm going to throw it back to Rachel, and she's going to take you to the next step. So thank you so much for coming and listening to us talk, and thank you for coming to this fireside gathering. It's been awesome having you all here. And here's off to Rachel. Thank you so much.